Hey, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to another episode of the SlipStream podcast. This time, we're going to be talking about Xenoblade 3 and like our thoughts and discussions after we beat the game. And it's been quite a while since the game's release. Well, it's almost been like 2 months if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah, today I'll be joined by three special guests, and they are Crack Wizard, Zayn, and Tyrea. So, all right. So, question one is sent by Apex, and he asks, so how many times did Noah fuck?
Once.
Once. Oh.
Well, yeah,
This is
once
my
at
comment.
minimum.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, at least once, but I'm trying to think. Let's see. I think they've been stuck in that cycle for many, many times. So saying once is too little. I'd say at least a good 5-10 times. I would think that. That's my guess.
I would think. I mean, once minimum confirmed. Probably though, if we're gonna be realistic, it's probably closer to around couple hundred, couple 200.
Oh.
I mean, well, I mean,
Wow.
he has been like, well, I guess if we're counting N, he's probably been.
Well, yes. We are counting N as no, obvious. So.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, N's probably been
No, I mean,
continued
of
going
course,
up.
well, because he's the one that we really see.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
N is
the
implied to
one
be the
that's-
one that did the fucking.
Yeah, but I mean, if he continues, you know.
Yeah, like after he kicked the bucket and then got zetified. Obviously he kept going and then.
Also,
getting that.
Great question.
also,
I mean,
here
like,
is
what's even the point of stopping time so you can live with your girlfriend if you aren't gonna like?
Oh, true.
Uh.
Also, think of it this way: what if interlinking is just intercourse on like another like level? You know.
What?
The fucking darling in the Franks.
After you
Oh,
said that, I was
God.
like so close to clicking out of the call, but I don't know if that would affect the recording.
No, don't do that. But I'm just saying a joke. But yeah, all right.
I know. I was gonna join back immediately, but I didn't want
Okay.
to
That
throw
is a
off
darling
any.
in the Franks moment.
Okay, I have not seen that yet, so I don't. But okay, I'll probably get to it sometime. Even though Zane says don't watch, so that means
Yeah,
that
go
just
on.
makes me want to watch it even more. To be honest, but okay, all right. Anyways, next question. So now the rest of the questions are going to be serious questions. Like that was the first kind of joke one, so just to get us started. But yeah. All right, next question is sent by Apex, sorry, not Apex, Basil and Tyrea, because they asked the same thing, but they asked the opposites of the same thing. They ask, is Shania a good character or not? Tyrea says she is, whereas Basil says she's not, which is why I merged them as one question. So, what do you guys think?
I'm gonna give my answer to this one right
Sure.
out the gate. I think what is a good character, like objectivity versus subjectivity. I think what is objectively good versus what is subjectively like likable or dislikable are two different things. I think objectively she is a good character, but I think subjectively she is a very dislikable character, and that's very much the point of her, and that's why she's a good character. She serves her purpose well.
Yes, you essentially answered my same thoughts, because I think she's a great like she's a great villain. In fact, she's one of the better villains in this game. And what do you call actually I like her in the sense that she's a good villain, so I found her enjoyable. Like so in a way I like her subjectively as well. Like I guess in a way people like Jin from Xenoblade 2. I guess in that way I like her as well. So yeah. And what about?
I don't
Zayn?
even know. I feel like that Jin is just kind of more of like a likable person, like you.
Yeah,
like
Jin is meant to be
true.
like redeemable, like a good person who's done bad things kind of character. Shania is just genuinely meant to be a terrible person.
I know. Yeah. I mean,
I like Shania as like a character, not like I mean I hate everything that Shania does. Like Shania is awful, but I really like how they handled her story
Yes.
because I hated her before she even did anything wrong. Like
Yeah.
I've talked about this. I
My God.
like Crack Wizard can like even like vouch for this because I like went to him when I was playing. I was like, damn, this Shania character is really annoying. She reminds me of Juju.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
And
Okay.
that was like my mindset the entire time. I was not expecting her to be a villain.
Mhm.
I vaguely remember. I actually forgot it was for a while, but when I first met Shania, I had kind of the same reaction, and then I only remembered it because I saw like a bunch of other people playing, and so many people I were watching play this game had like that same reaction of like the first moment you meet Shania, I fucking hate her. That's like their first reaction. No context, no reason why, just I fucking hate her.
Oh.
I think even the character design kind of lends itself to
It looks
that.
like a hateable
Like
person.
you just
Wow.
look at Shania and you're like, that face is annoying. I don't want to look at you.
Zayn,
Like you
what
can
about you?
already tell that something's up with her before she even does anything. And I had actually completely forgotten until revisiting the game, like watching other people play, that you actually see her pretty early on.
Yeah.
Like it didn't even click with me, but it all makes sense.
Yeah,
And even when you
Xeno.
get to the city, the game literally tells you that she's been following you since then. So,
Yes. I mean, to be fair, Xenoblade games they do a great job at foreshadowing things, or I guess by having like teasers for like things to come in the future, like early on. So, yeah, that's something which they've always kind of done well. Yeah, but yeah. Zane, what about you? Or wait, I think you're muted. Okay, yeah.
okay. While Zane's muted, I could say another thing about Shania
Sure,
real quick.
sure.
Um, this is gonna sound completely insane. Uh, she's probably my second favorite villain in the game, and
Eh,
literally the only reason I put N above her is because N is carried by the best voice acting in the series.
Wait,
Yeah.
best voice acting in the series, including Shulk and
Yes.
and Zanza. Oh,
Yeah.
That voice
I
actor
would
that
say
is better than Adam Howden. I am saying
Yeah.
it.
wow. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I don't know if I agree with that, but okay.
Yeah.
But
I
interesting
love
take.
He
Adam
is.
Howden. He went so hard with Xenoblade 1 and 2
Yeah.
in general. But I have to agree on that one. I think
Like
somehow Adam Howden got surpassed by
Like-
Ann and Noah's voice actor.
Sh- Shania's story genuinely kind of caught me off guard when it really shouldn't have. They actually like really built that up. I've watched chapter 5 over and over again now, and I see that it's really obvious that they set up Shania as a villain.
Yeah.
But like that's the one that caught me off guard. I looked at N immediately and I knew what was going on with him. Like
Mhm.
like the thing that impressed me with N was actually just how they actually handled that, and then of course his voice acting.
Interesting.
Like N didn't really do much for me from a writing standpoint.
I ended up liking and more so because like when I went into this game, like none of the villains surprised me. Like I knew Shania was gonna be a villain like the moment she showed up, and I remember that because um they imbued this very obvious like philosophical like childishness towards like all the like the antagonists and sort of this antagonistic idea which all lined up with Xan, and that's how I kind of immediately realized how it was all like thematically connected to Xenoblade 1 and 2, and I realized that really early on. And so when I met Shania, and she just immediately was like being like really childish about her views on life. I was like, oh, you're gonna either betray us or you're gonna be some kind of thematic antagonist in the story somehow. And I wasn't really that surprised when she stabbed us in the back. I was like, yeah, I saw that coming. Um but like what ended up making me really like and from a writing standpoint was more so Noah. Because even though like he was like super obvious as well for multiple perspectives of like obviously just being another Noah, one of the big things about like the whole like childish theming that was going on was like they are all very punchable, and whenever I've ever interacted with like children in my life, and they're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna cling to like these like really pathetic kind of delusions and like ideals. It's like I want to punch them in the face every time and tell them to fuck off. They're full of shit. And then Noah just fulfills my fucking goals. You know, that's how you immediately appeal to me with the protagonist. Have them yell at a fucking child to shut the fuck up. They're a coward. That's what carried N for me. Noah carried N for me as a character.
Okay,
yeah.
that is very interesting because for me it's the opposite. I think N carried Noah, if you ask me. But okay, interesting take. Zayn, what about you? What do you think about Shania? Is she a good character? And I guess N as well, since we're talking about N.
I don't know. You just said some ruffle, and I'm like, my answer is yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So is there?
I feel bad. Zayn was like the one kind of like pushing that Shania was really good, and I was playing for chapter 5. I'm like, what the hell's your problem, man? And then now after I like finished chapter 5, I'm like, whoa, that was awesome.
All right. So before we move on, is there any? So does anyone else wanna talk about on this subject matter? I guess Shania, as a character, or we can move onwards.
We can move on solely because I know that I can keep the conversation about Shania going for 2 hours. So,
Oh no.
I'm also
all right.
confident he can do that.
Okay. So the next question is sent by Basil, and he asks, how did Xenoblade 3 Z/Z come into existence? Won't the worlds that are split try to merge again? Does N and M's child actually exist in the real world, or is he, or I guess she, stuck in the Mobius cycle land? Okay, so before anyone says anything, I don't have a lot to say, so let me just say my thing, and then you guys can say your things. So I can answer, or I can vouch for the last thing which he says in this one. My answer would be not yet. I think like my headcanon is they will probably eventually re-meet again, and Noah and Mio in like after the ending, like they'll reunite and they'll have a child again. I think that's gonna happen. Or if it doesn't, then I'd be really sad. But I do think that's gonna happen. So not yet. Their child will exist, just not yet. Because what, they're like 12 or something, but by the end of the game, like actual 12, not the Mobius cycle 12 or year 2, as they would say. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Okay. So I mean, I feel like that Crack Wizard will definitely just explain where Zed came from as like super in depth, and then like we won't even have much to say. But
That's
like,
why I'm waiting for you guys to go.
Yeah, you
But-
should have.
I mean, basically, he was just like a manifestation made from Origin, from like the fear of the future, right? Like, wasn't that the whole thing?
Sorry.
Zed is just a manifestation of the fear of the future from humanity and all the souls that are stored inside Origin.
So essentially, you're saying
that's what they mean when they say he's a concept, not a person. He's not like it's the fear of everybody that doesn't know what's going to happen when the two worlds merge.
That is really that is really cool. I mean, yeah, when they say, oh, it's a concept, honestly, I was thinking more in line of like it's some sort of rogue version of Alvis for some reason, but probably I'm probably wrong, but
I mean,
okay.
thematically it is an antithesis to Alvis and or Klaus.
All right, so Zayn, what about you? Before I guess Crack teaches us everything.
Nah, I got this.
Okay,
What?
all right, Crack.
You got this.
Crack.
It's my
take
turn.
it away.
Okay.
Yes.
How did Zed come into existence? That part specifically?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
So they explained it in the game of Zed. There's a bit of a weird paradox here that I always noticed. The specific explanation given in game is that Mobius is like a virus basically that was installed onto the Origin by Zed. Which obviously creates a paradox here because it's also then shown later on that Zed is like an entity. X, X, Y, and Z were like all entities that were born or like created physically by Origin, which is kind of an issue in itself, because continuity. But because of that, I've been looking at other components of what they are, or that like the Mobius and they all have in general. And when I mentioned, I think before we even started this, or when I mentioned that I was probably going to go off and connect all this back to Xenoblade X, this is the main question I was talking about because
Okay.
the Mobius in general are pretty much the same as a thing from Xenoblade X called the Ova. Their weapons are also from Xenoblade X, called Dark Gods, which in Xenoblade X are actually worshipped by one of the enemy factions as a stand-in for a higher species known as the Great Ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only real answer I have at this point is that what Zed is most likely a virus, or what Mobius is in general, is like a virus created by the Great Ones, and whoever the like, and there's like an original Zed, and then there's like the Mobius Zed, which is probably created in the original Zed's image within Origin. But the original Zed is probably a part of the Great One faction, and somehow installed it all into the Origin and infected things, and then they're not going to bring that up, obviously, because Xenoblade X lore is still off in the fucking distance for the most part.
Yet. Well, I'm sure one day it will all fruition. Hopefully, Takashi is not dead by that point. But but yeah.
Yeah, someday, probably way past the point of which he's dead. There is like no way I can see it being realistically like, yeah, he'll ever get this shit finished.
Which is unfortunate. All right, and what about the second question? Want the worlds that are split? I try to remerge.
I'll let you guys answer this one first, and then I'll go for this as well.
I don't. I mean, aren't
I
they?
think that
Yeah,
I
sorry,
think
you
that
go.
it's just inevitable. Like, isn't that kind of what like the point is? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
didn't
All right, so
well,
we all
like,
agree then. Yeah, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's absolutely inevitable. The implication at the end of the game, which this is going to be another X connection that people are going to. This is the one I think people are going to really like rag on me on if they ever see this, when they see this. Is because at the end of the game you end up seeing a version of Ionios which is implied to be the complete version of Ionios. Grassy fields, no Mobius. And one of the bigger differences is that the moon is the moon that like the Earth's moon gone. Instead, you have like these two planets off in the distance, which have like a special filter they use to turn like globes or whatever into moon-like spheres for Xenoblade X. It's the same filter, same everything. The implication here is that this complete version of Mythra is like. No, not complete version of Mythra. Complete version of Ionios is has two moons, and the two moons are actually the past versions of the Xenoblade 1 and 2 worlds, respectively. And the further implication of this then connects all of that back to Xenoblade X with Mythra, and the original like Ionios with Mythra theory, because Mythra has 5 moons, although they're all just PNGs of Venus and Mars specifically that have been slightly doctored and then covered with a special white filter to make them look like moons. She was Alvis eyes.
Okay. Yeah. We'll get to that later. But yeah, sorry. You continue, Crack.
Yeah, sorry, I just saw you tapping that out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
Sorry. Back to the Ionius Mira stuff. So the implication overall is that at some point the worlds will merge back together and they'll become Mira. But the bigger implication, though, is that when they do properly remerge, there's going to be 3 more worlds involved in all that, which are probably going to be 3 of the next Xenoblade games. Which also kind of leads into a point I have made before about like Ionius Mirror theory most likely confirmed. Does it matter anymore? Not really. It's kind of a pointless theory at this point. It's more a matter of where the series goes forwards from here that
Mhm.
matters more.
Uh-huh. All right. Yeah, honestly, yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to say on this as well, but yeah, I do think that they will merge again and, and hope, and yeah, I mean, but yeah, but I think I already said that. So, shall we move on to the next question, guys?
Yeah, I
Or,
think so.
all
Yeah.
right. All right, so the next question, or I should say statement to be precise, it was sent in by Nishk, and he asked, I have a theory that Izurd and Camuravi outside of Ionius were Pyra and Mythra's sons. All right, so when I first saw this, I'm like, okay, this is very interesting. I personally, I don't know for sure because I think Craft's gonna go more in depth on this, but when you see the founders inside the city, like to the left as you walk in, that girl, she looks a lot like Pyra, so I think that's Pyra's daughter. But it's possible that Pyra could have had multiple children with Rex, or same goes with Mythra and Nia as well. Um, and now I don't know about Izurd, but Kamaravi, I could see him because he has sort of this fiery thing on his head or face, which could potentially be some DNA from Pyra, I guess. I don't know about Izurd. I mean, if you guys, but yeah,
Yeah.
and also
I
sorry, just one last thing, and I know that he didn't talk about this, but this is related to Rex and Pyra, so I'll mention this as well. But I do think that what do you call Mio is the daughter of Rex and Nia. Yeah.
I mean that's basically confirmed.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is absolutely confirmed.
Yeah.
I just want to say that. Yeah.
I completely forgot for the longest time that the biggest hint that undeniably Rex is her father is the fact that she has the Torna bastard eyes. Same
She
as
does?
Adam and Rex. Yeah, she has the same golden eyes as those two. So it's basically confirmed that Rex is her dad.
She does actually. Holy shit! Yeah, I'm taking a look at the photo of Mio. Holy shit! You're right.
Yeah.
Oh.
All
Go.
the meme images you guys are posting right now. So, as for Izurd specifically is what makes me really pull back on the idea of them being this specific question, like the Izurd and Kamuravi being Paramitas kids, because I don't see any resemblance with Izurd to any of the to either of any of Rex's children or any of Rex's wives, I guess. Oh my god, he
Yeah.
has 3 wives. What the fuck, Rex?
Yeah.
It's 3.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know. There were so many people in that picture. You don't know how.
Oh
I
no!
mean,
let's
realistically
not
speaking,
get into that now.
let-
Let's not get into that.
we all know he definitely banged Zeke. But
I mean, who wouldn't?
exactly. But of his 3 kids, we know that one of the founders resembled either Pyra or Mythra. Camuravi I could see as potentially being Pyra's kid. We don't know whether one of the founder the founder that's almost certainly Rex's daughter is actually Pyra's kid or Mythra's kid. So it's very much possible that it could be Mythra's kid and then Camuravi is Pyra's kid and Mio is Nia's kid.
Yeah.
That's a possibility to me, but Izurd I don't see any way to really be one of Rex's children.
Same here.
I don't really see the connection with Izurd.
Yeah, Zayn and Tara, do you guys have anything to say as well, or I guess add to this one?
I feel bad because like none of my commentary has been meaningful in any way to this.
No, that's
But,
not.
neither has mine.
That's
I-
not true. Don't say that.
I don't really like the idea of so many characters being related to previous characters. Like, honestly, that's one of the things I really enjoyed about like the characters is how like kind of how little focus there was on the old characters. I mean, then of course, the post game stuff with Nia, then like implies stuff with Miel, but
I mean,
like
it's
I don't know.
don't think
I think that the game as a whole actually like leaned a little too far into fan servicey stuff, like just
really
callbacks to the previous games. Yeah.
interesting. I think the opposite actually, but yeah, but honestly, I think that the game had
But,
like a good amount. I don't think it was too much, too little, but I do
yeah, it was
think that it was
definitely
on
a
the lower
reasonable
side.
amount. Like and I am actually very happy with the kind of fan servicey references that they had. I did not hear a single character say, "I'm really feeling it in combat." Like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like they
Just-
know the references that they need to make. But
Lance, you're, you're a lifesaver. They did say that one though. I mean, but
yeah, I mean that's like
yeah, that
I
one's
don't know.
fine. I
That's
guess.
like that's like different, you know.
Yeah,
That's a bit more of a niche reference. It's not quite as like
true.
on the nose. It's more of like, yeah, no, fans of the series will recognize it. Fans of the series will remember it. But
All right.
like I mean, I'm really feeling it. That honestly kind of that kind of more like is like the reference calling out to the Smash Brothers fans more than the Xenoblade fans.
Oh god,
Yeah.
a Smash community in Xenoblade is a quite interesting mix, which I won't get into right now. But all right, Zane, do you have anything to say before we move on, Zane, or you're good?
No.
No, okay. All right. So the next question is by Basil, and he asked, did Alvis exist during Xenoblade 3? Was he still in the frozen world, or just cackling while the chaos took place? Speaking of which, did Pyra and Mythra Malos die? They weren't in the world of Mobius. Were they excluded for some reason? Okay, so I'll just quickly say what I think. So I think he's there, but not in Xenoblade 3, but like he's alive in like at this time, just somewhere like vibing, just somewhere far away, but like not in Ionius. Pyra and Mythra Malos. Malos, I think he's dead. I no, he was like he died at the end of the game, at the end of Xenoblade 2, so he's not there at all. Pyra and Mythra, I don't know. I think they might be dead, or I think what could have happened is some sort of I think Nia, because Nia's weapon, like you could see their sword silhouette, Pyra and Mythra's sword. So I have a theory that maybe she absorbed their power or some sort of way. So I do think they're actually dead. Like that's what I think most likely. But I think Nia absorbed their power or soul, so they're alive in that sort of way. But like physically, I think they are dead. They're dead as well. However, I think Crack, you're the first one to tell me this theory. I think they will probably come back at the end of the game because of the way that time got reversed, or not reversed, but like essentially now it's how things were supposed to be if Mobius never interfered, so all of that never took place. So they might come back in that case, but they were not there at the time of the game itself. All right,
Yeah,
you guys can.
There's nothing to directly imply that they were ever in the Ionius time stop, because like the way the world got merged, like I mentioned before, it's incomplete in like Ionius is incomplete. But the implication is that the world merge is kind of like a Venn diagram. Like there's like part of it is like merged with the other like one circle. Part of that circle is merged with another circle. Well, part of another circle, but not all of both circles are completely overlapping. So it's kind of like that. Like like some things got left out of the Ionius merge, and there's nothing to imply that Pyra or Mythra were directly part of the merge. So I would assume that they were completely left out, and so they would probably get brought back after the worlds got like split again and or like remerged properly. As for Alvis, I'm certain that like Alvis is like still existing. He's probably aware of the Ionius time lock. In fact, he's almost certainly aware of it because the way the Xenoblade 1 ends, the implication is that he is aware of it. He's telling them, "Don't worry, shit's gonna happen, but like you'll be fine." Your big hint to solve everything is that walk together hand in hand. That is your towards the future. All of that's your big hint, right? You got to push forwards to the future, and you got to be cooperative. You got to work together. You can't just isolate yourselves and be crazy and up in your own ass and all that, right? That's like the hint he gives them, and then he leaves. So Alvis obviously tries to help, but his stance, I think, in the world now is very much like a second Zohar. So obviously he can't be too involved with people anymore. Because he's kind of like seemingly the source of all ether in the modern Xenoblade timeline after the end of 1 and 2. So
yeah. All right, Tyrea, you want to talk about the like about this part and how you
Okay.
showed me that Alvis eyes
yeah.
photo thingy?
This is just like there's like a 90% chance this is just nothing and like kind of a coincidence and just reusing assets from memory space or something. But I have seen some discussion around the fact that during Alvis's last line in Xenoblade 1, when it zooms in on his eye and you like see space, specifically directly in the center, you see 2 planets, and right between them, like perfectly between them, is like this large light. And
I have to find that image because
I have it right here.
Yeah,
It
perfect.
probably means nothing. But I swear, if the DLC story like leads to something, and then they end with like the shots of like the 2 worlds merging, and then it zooms out to Alvis's eye from this moment, I am probably going to cry and scream and shit everywhere.
sorry, the shitting everywhere part's my job. You could do the crying and screaming.
Oh God. Okay.
Anyone that wasn't here for a discussion before we started the podcast is not going to understand why I just said that, but okay.
Yeah. Let's not explain to them.
Oh yeah.
Let's leave them hanging on that regard.
Oh,
Alright.
There.
Yeah. Zayn,
Yeah,
what about you?
I don't know.
Because I mean that. Because I can totally see this meaning nothing, because it also looks like there's like another planet up front. So like there's like a lot of details in this like going on. Like it's not just the 2, but like
yeah, I mean that's the
like,
core
the idea of the fact that like I mean they could even easily retcon it. Like I mean, if you line up the experiment scene between Xenoblade 1 and 2, it doesn't look identical.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Although in the case of the Xenoblade 1 and 2 thing, it's an unretcon more so than a retcon, because it's going back to what the original planned script for that was.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna say, like, if they actually turn this around and that is like the 2 worlds merging, and it was there since the original game, then every bad thing I've said about Xenoblade 3's story is going away, and Takahashi has just been like playing like 4D chess with us for the entire time.
I've been convinced he's been playing 4D chess the entire time, so
I mean,
the idea of like the other
Takahashi.
worlds also lines up with the stuff I said before about like Mythra having like 3 more worlds on top of the Ionius pair. So I'm inclined to believe
what?
that.
What? This is news to me. Holy shit, yo.
So what? I've talked about this with you like 3 times now.
Well, I don't remember. I'm sorry. But okay. So Miwan asks, "What are Riku's true intentions?" So essentially, because I think he asks this because when playing the game, along many people's minds, you kind of get the sense that Riku knows more than he's letting on. Like he's pulling sort of a Gramps slash Alvis move where like it's like a sort of mentor character who like, okay, I know Alvis is not a direct mentor, but like you get the idea that he kind of guides the player to like, like how things or guide them to like, to be better, etc. So he's sort of that character-ish, but he might know more. I mean, in fact, at some point I even said, yo, as a joke, yo, what if Riku is just Alvis? Like, I mean, it could be. I don't think so, but it could be.
What?
Riku definitely has something going on. Do you remember that scene when you meet Melia? And she and there's this moment of silence where her and Riku just look at each other and they don't say anything. They just both smile at each other. And there's this like it's this extended period of time.
Question.
There's just no dialogue for several seconds and they just look at each other.
Sorry, side question. But it's on this topic. Did the Napons go part of the the flame clock thingy, or did they just live normally? I don't think that was
the Napon live normal years. It seems.
So
several Napon on the affinity chart were like 20 something.
Oh wow!
Like
okay,
they're just measured in like normal years.
Yeah.
So
it's also mentioned. So a lot of this is you guys have done like Riku's big side quest thingy, right?
Which one?
Well,
The one where
not.
that leads into you being able to upgrade all the weapons.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because they explain quite a bit of this about like what's going on. Like not all of it. Like there's still plenty more that's going on with Riku, but they first off hint at the idea that like Napon are meant to be like separate from all the stuff about human affairs and the whole scheme with like Mobius and all that. And the Mobius also mentioned, oh yeah, aren't the Napon supposed to be like an outside party? Aren't they supposed to? Wasn't the agreement that they wouldn't get involved with all this shit? Why the hell is there a Napon getting involved in all this shit?
Mm-hmm.
Which I like addressed to Riku. Which also does line up with Alvis again, because again, outliers. Man, this all really does just funnel that one crazy theory I have about Napon being. I really don't like that theory.
What's the theory?
The Napon being Alvis's like echelons.
That one. I know that.
Yeah, that really bad theory that like I really don't want to be true, but like this game just like the one thing like I felt very conflicted about was about this game like all the way through. Like the more it went on, the more I was like, please don't confirm that theory for me. Please don't. Of all the stupid things I've ever thought about, just for once in my life, don't confirm a theory for me. And let it specifically be that one you don't confirm.
Oh boy. Zayn, what about you? What are your thoughts on this question matter?
I thought it was a meme question. What the fuck?
No, I mean it's actually I wouldn't say it's a meme question because this is sort of serious because it sort of seems to know a lot more info than he's letting on. So
yeah,
I mean, I guess.
I mean, just because he's a Napon doesn't mean he's a joke.
there are no memes in this video.
I mean, there's one, and
memes are not real. Anti-meme. This video is anti-meme. r/anti-meme.
Anti-meme.
Yes. I love that subreddit, to be honest, but okay, yeah, sorry. Let's but yeah, all right. So I guess if you don't have anything to say, I guess I'll ask does anyone else have anything to add on this subject matter then?
Okay. I mean, I do have to say Riku is like the best character ever, but like okay, you know what? No, I take back what I said about N. Riku is the best voice actor in the series.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay.
You know,
okay.
Yeah, actually agree with that.
Okay.
I'm going to go on that back take.
Okay. Semi hot take. I like
not Japanese Riku. Japanese Riku is like too normal of a Napon.
Japanese
like,
Riku.
If Riku sounded like a normal Napon in English, then this game would have no redeeming qualities.
Okay. All right. So I guess this is sort of I guess not hot take, but like a warm take. I think his voice is very cool, but I feel like it's too good to be a Napon. Like
Uh,
it's like I've won, but
Here's the
at
thing,
what
if
cost?
Riku wasn't such a great character, I would have agreed with that. But Riku is
Fair. Yeah.
easily one
True.
of the best
Yes.
Napon
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
ever existed
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
series.
I'm not saying no to that. I just think that like he sounds too Chad to be a Napon. That's the only thing. Oh, actually, no.
But
Sorry. Actually,
that's like the whole point.
true. Fair. But
Napon
yeah.
are like the biggest bags of tonal whiplash, like except in Xenoblade 2. Every game, like Napon are like
No
way more
pun.
like even Xenoblade 2, they're a little bit more than their you're meant to expect out of them. There's like always like this like they always set this expectation of, oh yeah, there's a mascot furball characters, and then in actuality Nopon are like always such a stupidly overpowered and ridiculously complex race with like insane levels of political shenanigans going on, and then there's like
Yes.
a bunch of secret like cults and then like divine um god shit going on behind the scenes with them.
Yes,
Like
and
setting them in a weird position of basically being like
Being fair
truly
to
angels.
being fair to Xenoblade 2, they in Vale's quest they did just kind of summon enemies out of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's still a lot more to them in Xenoblade 2 than like more to them than meets the eye, but it's just like not quite on the level of the crazy bullshit you see like in Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 3 and Xenoblade
yeah,
X. And
yeah,
Actually,
for
I just
sure.
realized you were probably referring to Vale's quest when you said cults. But
Yeah, honestly, yeah, Napons are like, yeah, they are a wild ride themselves. So.
yeah, they're also omnilingual, which I guess is just
what?
maybe this is how
maybe there's something about this planet.
yeah, maybe Napon are Mira. Maybe the truth is once they all merge,
Maybe,
the big merge, Ionius Mira, it's actually just like all the worlds become the Naponis. There's actually even more than 5 worlds. There's even more that haven't merged with Mira yet, and they're all gonna merge in, and suddenly, boom, we're gonna have like the Naponis. That's the big twist. All of this is leading to the true Naponis, the ultimate entity of the entire Xenoblade continuity.
oh
Okay,
no.
I take it back. I said the thing like the Alvis eye thing would completely change my opinion on Xenoblade Free Story. If somehow they turn this around and make the Napanas actually canon, that this is objectively like the best game ever made, and no one can ever top it.
Okay, all right. So all right, that was quite that was quite
For the,
some theory.
this
All
is
right,
for the not unconnected.
yes, Napon connected DLC.
I want this.
Okay, all right, all right,
The DLC
All right.
story, the official name comes out. No,
all right,
connected.
all right.
This is why
Moving
Future
on.
Connected is called Future Connected. It was all the
Oh.
set up for Napon Connected.
All right, all right, all right. All right, moving on to the next topic, or I guess question, is also sent by Basil, and he asks, is Xenoblade, yeah, sorry, is Off-Seeing just another way to make souls go back to Zed to continue the cycle? Off-Seeing seemed to originate from Key/Agnes and thus Mobius. So did did Noah/Mio, sorry, send souls back to Zed? When did an Off-Seeing for them in the city during that one side quest? I don't know
Uh,
anything on this subject, or I'm not sure on this subject, so I'm not gonna say much. So
I,
you guys take it away.
I'm not sure about Offsing specifically, but I mean, obviously, when the soldiers die, that's just feeding into Mobius. We literally see that in the game. We see
Yeah.
that in chapter 2, I think, right?
There does so we see that like when some people die that like they go back to Mobius and there's no like off-seeing for them. So um I don't see that as connected or like a connected plot point. I don't know what the purpose of off-seeing is. It does seem to affect like their memories in some capacity. Um but honestly I don't see like I don't really know what the overall uh like like scientific purpose of it is. There is absolutely some kind of science going on with off-seeing. It's Takahashi. If he doesn't make some crazy convoluted power system shenanigans and call the catamony. Oh, my monitor just. Okay, well, create some crazy convoluted catamony shit. Then obviously he didn't make the story, which I mean technically that's more of a Soraya Saga thing to do, but still it's a Xeno game, so there's an absolute certainty there's definitely something more going on with the off-seeing, but I've never figured out, and I have no idea what the heck the point of it is.
But wait a minute. So you said it has something. It seemingly has something to do with the memories.
Yeah.
This is just a wild guess, and I've not touched the game in like weeks, so I could be horribly off about this. Do you think it's maybe off-seeing helps like get rid of the memories, and then people who aren't sent off actually remember things? Because I mean, like Ashira and Uni remember things from previous lives.
Yeah, I maybe my
That wouldn't
issue
matter.
with that idea is well, I think it's more a case of not so much issue, but what I'm thinking more so is because they don't clearly remember things, but it seems to be more of a case of like Offseeing maybe seems to clean out their memories and the information, which that might be what then gets sent on to like Mobius, and that's how maybe they're watching that stuff in the theater. Like maybe all that stuff is just stuff from the Offseeing, like those memories. Like that gets like siphoned out and then sent off, and so that's how they can see all this stuff going on at all times. But otherwise like that, like because like with Ashera, it's like her memories only slowly begin to come back as time goes on, and Uni doesn't initially remember her past lives, except in the context of like D. So it's like specific triggers allow them to remember these things, but even other characters who seemingly maybe have these similar kinds of triggers don't actually remember stuff. Like Mwamba doesn't remember things when he comes back. He has like similar personality traits, but he doesn't remember anything, even though he sees us and he sees other stuff, and we saw him off. So the implication there is that he doesn't remember his past lives. So considering
Sorry.
Actually, you go.
I know it's like really simple foreshadowing and stuff, but after like rewatching a lot of the cutscenes again, I do actually really like how I mean, like with how we even in chapter 1 when we first encounter Mobius D, Uni is disturbed by him like remembering him. Um so even that's like set up in chapter 1. So that's just like that was just kind of something that like I noticed watching the cutscenes again, and it's like, oh yeah, that like they really did actually establish this all going on. That was also the same point that I noticed that Shania is back in chapter 2 as well. But I mean, but I'm also just really stupid, so this is
okay.
probably stuff that you guys picked up on the first playthrough.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
No.
That's the type of stuff that I would pick up on my second run or third run, which I have not done. So, but anyways, but yeah. Though I did rewatch a lot of the cutscenes, so but yeah. All right, next question is sent by Cursed, and he asks, let's see, 1 second. Okay, yeah. So he asks, and what makes Melia and Nia different than Klaus? Melia and Nia had origin built in order for humanity to be born or to be reborn. Klaus used the conduit as he witnessed his world on the brink of ruin, and humanity was reborn. Okay, well, you guys go first. So, what do you guys think on this question?
Okay. So, I mean, I feel like that the situations are quite different though.
I mean the setting for it's literally like the plot of Xenoblade 3 is meant to be a recreation of overall the same events. But the perspective on it's kind of reversed. It's a repetition of history, but I don't really agree with the idea that Melia and Nia are doing like the same thing as Klaus. I would argue the exact opposite, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I would say that at least Nia, because Nia knows about Klaus, because I'm pretty sure she even remembers what Klaus said. I would think that she probably wants to, not make that same mistake as him. So I think she would take the precautions to not do that.
Yeah, of course. Actually, that's a great point. Both of those characters knew Klaus. So,
well, actually,
No,
no, Melia would not
Klaus
know.
is
No.
Klaus. Melia knew Klaus is Xander, but in defense of Melia, Melia and the High Ante in general were like Melia specifically is like one of the biggest victims of Klaus's kind of philosophy on life. So she would recognize kind of that kind of life philosophy of like perpetuation and stagnating things in a singular like loop in a cycle. Like what Klaus effectively tried to do with when because basically what the Klaus's objective was to perpetuate and to loop history, which is what happened with the Xenoblade 1 world, although not so much with the Xenoblade 2 world, because Xenoblade 2 world, Klaus realizes he fucked up. Melia ends up becoming like one of the biggest victims in Klaus's big old scheme. So naturally she'd be one of the people who most heavily oppose that kind of idea of perpetuating things and looping the world and looping like eternal recurrence and all that. Like a manually controlled eternal recurrence of the natural phenomena. It's not like you can ever prevent it, but trying to control eternal recurrence is unnatural, and it hurts people a lot more than it ever helps. Like the origin wasn't built for humanity to be reborn, like what Cursed asks in this question. I feel like this question ends up coming down more towards correcting Cursed's like kind of overall misunderstanding of what's going on than more so than it comes down to actually answering a question.
Yeah.
Because the origin wasn't built for humanity to be reborn. It was built for humanity to continue to be safe, so that they could continue moving forwards. Whereas what Klaus did was specifically with the intention of perpetuating the world and keeping it in a cycle. He because it even comes up that like he sees like, oh yeah, we're like everything that we had before is now decaying. It's like all dying and it's all ending. And that's scary, and I don't like that, and I want it all to come back. In like the Xenoblade 2 version of the cutscene and the Xenoblade 1 version, we see exactly him embodying that philosophy. The one who's replicating Klaus's actions would be Zed and the Mobius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Zayn, so what about you? Do you have anything to add?
No.
No, again. All right.
No, practice explains everything, and I'm like, okay.
yeah, I mean that's kind of what happens. Like,
all right. For the next
that's
question,
like both the
you go
best part
first.
and worst part of having Track Wizard on here. Is
Yeah.
like he says like everything, and he's just like infinitely smarter than us.
All right, moving on to the next question. Actually, this was not a question. It's like Basil just spat out a big ass paragraph of something, but essentially, all he asked was, I'm gonna paraphrase it in like 2 words, or I guess a few words. Xenoblade 3 DLC question mark. That's yeah. So Zane, you can go first.
The huge thing was just about what we think the DLC will be, just to like give like
yeah.
context
Yeah.
for the question.
Now, I do want to say that this was sent in before the Xenoblade Direct, so he did not see that, or he didn't know that we'd get a hero shown. But yeah, all right. So Zane, you go first this time.
Oh, the DLC, like the expansion, right? I mean, what do you call it,
Just
the one
anything
next
from the
year.
DLC in general.
Yeah.
Oh, like the story one in
Everything.
specific, or just everything?
Everything. All. I guess. Or I guess whatever you want to talk about. I mean,
whatever you have to talk about, you can give your.
Okay,
ideas.
I guess the story one. I feel like that's just about the founders.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think it's pretty obvious, but like, or like well known, but yeah, I think that.
Okay.
I doubt it's an epilogue. I don't know. I feel like I feel like it could be, but there's too many unanswered things that.
With
I'm
Okay.
how
done. Go
Xenoblade
on.
3 works the setting, I think they could do like really either or and answer a lot of questions as a whole. A lot of people I've talked to, I think overall the majority of people I've talked to want an epilogue more than they want a prequel.
Yep.
I think a prequel is a much safer bet. I think it would be a lot easier to do. Like, and it would be. I think it's like a safe bet that you could like do a prequel and do it really well. They've already set everything in stone for like, yeah, this is how it all plays out, and this is how it plays out really well. But I feel like I got completely distracted because like out of the corner of my eye I saw that comment Zayn put on the very first question.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Dick
Sorry,
can't.
no, going back, ignoring that specifically very
Am I
horny
wrong?
comment I caught in the corner of my eye.
I'm not wrong.
Back to the Xenoblade 3 DLC. Prequel is uh uh prequel is a lot more of a safe bet. But a sequel or an epilogue, whatever, I think that could pose a lot more interesting. Because at this point, I feel like the ending of Xenoblade 3, I think overall, and the whole thematic wrap up, it does a good job. And at this point, it's more like I want to see where the story goes later and all that. And uh um like it's a case of it's a lot of questions are now left, but the questions that we have are ones that feel like they don't have as much to do with this world and this setting. So it feels like even though they could do a prequel and answer that, a lot of that stuff, it feels like with how the story going forwards is kind of setting up for a grander universe, it would make more sense to have like it would make more sense to have like a sequel that could set up better for that expanded universe and expand on the currently existing questions that lead into that expanded universe.
Mhm.
When it comes to the DLC story, my opinion on this has shifted completely.
Oh, really?
I used to kind of be like of the mindset like, yeah, either or would definitely work. As of right now, I'm standing with I don't want a prequel. I want to see time move forward. I don't want to linger on the past. I want to see what the future holds.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think that will thematically fit into the game better. I
Yeah.
think that I think that they could still answer a lot of questions considering, I mean, time was frozen, so now that things are moving forward, we could like
We could
kind
still
of
have things from the past while
like
moving the plot forward.
it'll basically like it's almost as if like no time passed at all. So I mean,
Hey, that
like
is
it
Xenoblade
kind of
4
is
though.
both. Like
Okay. um
so, yeah. I think that a prequel story with the founders would actually be like really boring.
For me, I want an epilogue. I don't want a prequel. However, I have a hunch it's gonna be a prequel. Like, I'm sorry, if you had a gun up to my head and said, okay, pick one, what's gonna happen? I'd say prequel, but I don't want that myself. But
That I will just say to that, a prequel would be much easier for them to make.
Yeah.
Like they could easily reuse the map and like make like small changes to some things.
Well,
That would genuinely be like the worst case scenario if they just kind of like reuse the Ionios map and just like change some things.
I mean, to be fair, they could probably like have like one or two maps. I mean, like just make a new map because I know in Torna, I know like Gormont was modified, but and they had the Torna, like Titan, as like a completely new thing. But yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, if time is frozen, then how different is Ionios going to be if we go back to like the founders? I mean, I guess some annihilation events haven't happened yet, but I mean, I feel like a lot of those kind of happened in just places that we kind of see rather than go to. So
Mhm.
I don't think it would actually affect the level design. It would be more like, oh, maybe you can get a look at something that you couldn't see before.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't think maybe there's a couple of colonies that haven't been destroyed, but honestly, the colonies are kind of crap. Like, I love the side content, but the colonies didn't impress me. They're just like really small, and there's only like a handful of NPCs.
Yeah.
They all have very similar structure as well. Of just like here's like a bunch of tents in like a circle, and
Like,
something big in the center or near the top of the area.
it feels kind of copy paste, even though it's like not.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Before we move on, so I want to say one last thing regarding the DLC. So this is not about the story. This is actually more about the non-story part, which we'll be getting. So that new hero Ino, which they announced,
Oh boy.
has certainly
boy.
has some.
Oh, boy.
She certainly looks odd. I mean, I don't think it's a like I think it's fine. I don't think it looks good, but I think it's okay. I mean, it's fine because one, she's a robot, and secondly, like if I'm gonna if I'm gonna go ham on her, I have to be ready to defend Xenoblade 2 character choices. So I'm just gonna say, hey, I was fine with Xenoblade 2's characters like looking really bad. I'm fine with here as well, but I have to
actually
say
like
they
her
do look
design a
bad.
lot.
Interesting. Okay, all right. Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
I don't think I could explain why. I think that it actually just kind of looks really badass.
I'm in like this boat where I think it looks bad, but I think that's kind of why I like it because it just looks like a fucking lunatic made it, and it's really cool to me. Like the idea of just how it seems way too crazy to seem even remotely practical.
Yeah, I
It's
do
like-
think that it's on purpose. Like it's meant to look crazy. Yeah,
Like-
sorry.
Like
Yes.
it definitely looks crazy. I'm a little biased because I actually kind of like my brain is kind of filling in the picture they posted on Twitter of the main party wearing the outfit, and it looks awesome.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
I think it looks cooler as like an outfit, and you get like this like crazy spiky outfit rather than the kind of like it does actually look weirder on the actual character.
Mhm.
As for Ino herself, I am terrified of what kind of grinding we're gonna have to go through for this. If you look at the direct, you can see she has a specific menu icon called Ino Swap. So
Yep.
Yeah.
we're having Poppy again.
Let's go,
Yeah.
Tiger.
Yeah, I can't wait for
we're gonna have
Anel
to be
to make a
grinding
guide.
a lot.
I have some serious
I am-
nostalgia for this because
I really hope that there's like an easy way, or I really hope that there's some like easy broken strategy to just kind of make her work. Like because
hopefully.
like honestly, like looking at like the soul hacker class alone, that's part of the reason I have not touched the game in weeks. Like
Here's the thing
there's
about Soul
stuff
Hacker.
to grind for. Like there's so much to grind for that it's like keeping me away. And it's bad when I'm like looking at the grinding. I'm like, I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna go play Xenoblade X instead.
No, oh god. I do want to say one
Yeah.
thing. I can't wait for like Anel to like make a video on like, hey guys, I'm gonna show you why Ino is the best like OP hero, which honestly she might be because she's a DLC hero.
Oh, she is.
So
She
you know
obviously
that
is.
she's gonna be OP like by default, and yeah, but so yes.
One
so
of
should
the
be
things we've
interesting.
already seen from the trailer, like I've only seen the trailer once. One of the things I saw was it's something really simple, but it's easily one of the most OP things. Non-positional break art. Already
Oh.
just immediately sets like easily the best break art in the game.
Oh,
just
what the fuck?
Yes, yeah, yes,
Yeah.
Oh, that's
absolutely.
cool.
Also,
Um,
yeah, sorry, are you go? Yep.
what was it? I one thing I wanted to bring up earlier about her release schedule being the first Blade. It's nostalgic of Xenoblade 2 for me because the first DLC Blade from Xenoblade 2 was Poppy Buster, except it's like better because one of the big complaints we had about Poppy Buster back then, and I so vehemently remember this criticism we had for Xenoblade 2, was that you couldn't customize Poppy Buster like you could like the three Poppy models. They fixed it. Not only it's just they're repeating history, but it's like better. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Yes, sorry about that. Okay. Um, yeah. Okay. No, no, no. Sorry, we're fine. I lost my train of thought. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. So I was saying, or I was gonna say that. Also. So they showed the challenge mode. Now I am hoping, or I don't think it's gonna happen at this point, but for a custom mode, because I like whether you like Xenoblade 2 or not, I feel like that mode was very it's very fun because like for challenge runs, and I don't know if we'll see it because from the challenge mode what we saw we don't see like a custom mode tab, like all we see is easy, normal, hard. So I don't think they're gonna add it, though they might later on, but yeah. And also, there is a challenge mode. Okay, I have one question regarding Xenoblade 2 actually. So when they showed challenge mode trailer for that game, did they show Shulk and Fiora in the trailers, or do we find out after, like after we opened the game?
That is a very weird case. They did not show Shulk and Fiora in a trailer.
Yeah, they didn't.
But
What they did is there was
at E3 they had Nintendo Treehouse event where they show gameplay of specific games. I believe
Yeah.
they like. Okay, no wait. I don't think they showed Torna because that was like way too early. But
No, they
they're
didn't.
showing, yeah,
What
that was a different
I
time
specifically
then.
I specifically remembered what happened because this specific scene is permanently ingrained into my memory. The guy the guy who was playing the game specifically walked into the portal and was like, oh yeah, this is a new thing we're adding to the game with the DLC. There's gonna be a cutscene right here at the start. We'll skip most of it, but I'll show you the very start of it, and then we'll skip the rest. And so then they show the starting cutscene, or the beginning of the whole cutscene with Shulk and Fiora appearing, and then they skip it after that. So
Okay.
that was how it was officially revealed that Shulk and Fiora were joining XE2.
Yeah.
How funny
So
would it be if they're really doing this like a twist and like we don't know, but actually like Shulk and Fiora will be there this time around too. Like that
actually,
that would be a crazy
I would
twist,
say
but
Shulk
I
and
doubt
Rex
it.
would probably show up. Not well. Actually, no.
Yeah.
Sorry. If the what do you call if the DLC story is gonna have Rex in it, then as a playable character, I don't think he'd be playable in as a DLC hero. But same goes with Pyra and Mythra. If I like, they're like
They could do
I
party members from Xenoblade 1 and 2 that aren't like Shulk and Rex, because we know Shulk and Rex are in the Ionius loop, but we don't know if like the other characters are, and if they weren't, then they wouldn't technically know about it, so it wouldn't be spoilers for any of them. And so realistically speaking, you could have like Dunbane and Zeke join Xenoblade 3 for their challenge mode.
Takahashi, please give us Tyrea.
And Tyrea.
Yeah, so I was just saying, like, I refuse to believe that knowing how popular Pyra and Mythra are, that they're essentially Like for example, let's say that they're not playable in the DLC story because for some reason it doesn't make sense. Okay, fine. But then I refuse to believe that they wouldn't have them as DLC heroes for the main game. Like that's just easy money. Like I mean, pretty sure some people would buy the DLC just because hey shit, you could play as Pyra and Mythra.
I
Because
mean, I feel like that they would just add them if there's like enough fan demand, because I mean, they already said they didn't intend to put Alma in Xenoblade 2.
oh shit, really? Okay.
I
Yeah,
remember with the album.
that's why there's like minimal voice acting involving her. Like even
Yeah.
her quest doesn't have any voice acting, and she doesn't have any heart to hearts, right?
No, she does.
No,
she does.
She has a bunch of. She doesn't
Oh.
have heart to hearts. She has like special
Oh, shit.
cutscenes though.
Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, sorry.
Which are required for her affinity chart. But the Alma case is really funny about like, oh yeah, she wasn't planned for like Alma was put into the game's code like a month or two before she was actually officially like even like advertised or teased. I think it might have been 3 months before she was actually like officially announced. But like people found the code for her entire gameplay and they're like, oh, that's absolutely fucking Alma. There's like 100% certainty that is Alma and that she is that like that they've basically put all the data for her character into the game already. So she like that. I remember that because when that first was announced, I was like, oh my god, Alma's being added to the game, and then like my hype for it died down a bunch. And I completely I knew Alma was gonna be in the game, right? So when the official announcement came out, like yeah, I knew. Except that wasn't my reaction at all. That was the reaction I was expecting. I was fully expecting like, oh yeah, it's gonna be Alma. We all know it. I'm not gonna be excited for it. And then I fucking squealed so loudly my neighbors had to knock on the door and be like, hey, are you okay?
Uh, all right. We just spent like double the time for this question when I actually said, hey, let's not spend too much time on this one. Whoops, we did
I
not.
don't even know what question we're on right now. Oh,
But
that's
it's
on the
fine.
DLC?
But yeah. So all right, so it's okay. So we'll move on to the final question, which should take us quite a while actually. Which is why I was saying all right, or which is why I was like, okay, all right, let's move on. So
This next question, I don't think will take much time at all, but the one after it will probably.
Yeah. So the next question is it was sent by Iohana, and she asks, or they ask, what part of the story did you like best? What parts you didn't like? So I made a video on this, but I do have something to say, so I'll say after you guys go.
Did we skip the?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we can get back to just answer that as like alongside with this. I mean, or just merge it in.
Yeah,
So-
they kind of fold into each other.
Yeah, so I guess I'll credit them as well. So Aspirin Juice also asks, who are your favorite and least favorite heroes and why? So, because of time wise at this point, because I know this question might take a long time, which is why I'm saying okay, let's just merge them as like one thing. So yeah. All right.
I'll just get my opinion on the heroes out of the way really quick.
Okay.
There are no characters in this game that I dislike.
Okay.
I mean, I mean, of course, I think that I mean, like Mobius as villains are a little underwhelming just with how many there are and what they do. But I mean, other than that, like there aren't. This isn't like a situation like Xenoblade 2 Blades where I just kind of look at them and there are ones that I'm just like, yeah, these characters are annoying. Every hero kind of feels like fine. I was a little worried by some characters that I thought would just be annoying, but then they actually had good like side quests and stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
like for me, the heroes kind of just range from like loving them or just kind of like feeling like they're just kind of okay. Like I don't dislike anyone. So.
All right,
Yeah.
and what about so how we'll do this is I guess I'll have each one of you just say all of your thoughts and no one interrupt them, like just let them talk. So I guess Tyrea, so I guess finish your thoughts on the story now. So just say whatever you want to say, like your sorry and just no one comment on it. Just let him finish. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, go.
Okay. I feel like really bad when it comes to the story, because the game's story really gripped me at the start. Like, I was like, I can't even describe how many times I cried. Most of it was just little callbacks and references to the previous games. Like, I admit that it is not from this game alone that was doing that. And in fact, I probably wouldn't have cried at that like that much in general if it wasn't for all the things referencing the previous games. But like I don't think it would have moved me as emotionally if this was my first Xenoblade. Um, but uh, overall, my thoughts are just kind of disappointment. I I kind of expected more from just uh honestly it was mostly Takahashi saying stuff that actually kind of got me hyped up. I know in one interview right before the game released, he said his exact words were, "I'm done being goody two shoes about it. This is like this is where the story is going crazy." And I did not feel that at all playing Xenoblade 3. This felt like the safest Xenoblade game to me. Like it didn't really challenge the way I was thinking at all. Um,
Mhm.
okay, okay. You know what? I just realized one thing that kind of um. No, I guess I could say the the game totally did kind of call me out because I don't remember which one of you I said this to. I just now remembered something that I said months ago before
Uh,
like knowing
sure,
anything about the game.
sure.
And
I
I
say it's.
said like I said I I don't want to see any trailers or anything. I just want time to completely. I just want the next couple months to go by extremely fast, and then I want time to stop so I can enjoy this game for as long as I can. And honestly, as I reflect on saying that, now I'm like, Jesus Christ, Takahashi, what have you done?
Uh, I'm
Um,
pretty sure you said that like in the server, like somewhere, like in like one of the
Yeah,
public
I
chats. Yeah,
remember. I think
yeah.
you said
Me
that to
too.
pretty much all of us.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All
Um,
That was a
right.
very public
All
conversation.
right. So, so Tara, before we move on to Zane, anything else you want to add as your thoughts?
um, okay. Yeah, I mean, well, I just gotta point out I mean, the thing that like everybody has to point out. Well, I think that the story as a whole is just underwhelming. Uh, I mean, I can't deny that the end of chapter 5 and start of chapter 6 is just the peak of the series. Like nothing can just like uh, they've not topped that before, and I don't know if they can top it again. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, clearly because I mean, if anything, like the rest of chapter 6 and chapter 7 are potentially the most underwhelming part of the game. So they clearly didn't top it, but
Yeah.
Yeah. All
uh,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Zane's not ready just a second. So I guess Crack, you can go next. You can say
Oh,
your
okay.
thoughts.
My thoughts. Overall, I think this might have been like I kind of had like the opposite reaction of Zeke, where it's like I the way I approach the game in general is very different from other people. Where I approach kind of very open minded and like, okay, let's see what they're gonna throw at me this time, and I'm just gonna slowly clump it all together and work it all into like a giant hash full puzzle to me. Like everything I got in this game was just like more puzzle pieces for me to put into the grand scheme of figuring out what the hell is Tetsuya Takahashi's brain. Um, but overall, I think this out of the main three Xenoblade games, this is definitely my favorite. Um, X is still my favorite of all Xeno games, though. Um, they covered a lot of ideas from like older games that like or like important ideas I've wanted them to introduce into the Xenoblade games for a while, because they've always been kind of there in the background, but like never really fleshed out, like stuff from Xenosaga and Xenogears. But they did it in a way which I think was better than Xenosaga in particular, because I feel like Xenosaga was a bit of a mess. And beyond that, the one thing I was disappointed in, and I remember I actually had this disappointment very early on, but that was because I was I was spoiled by Tempest, some other guy we know, that like the game was only 7 chapters long, and I was like, 7 chapters? It can't be that short. It's like they've set up so many plot points in like the first 2 chapters alone. It can't actually be that short. And then then I had it confirmed for me, yeah, it's actually that short. And I was like, okay. So then I kind of like lowered my expectation of the amount of answers we'd be getting, and I was like, okay, what questions are we getting then? And I approached the game more so with that perspective. And so well, I was disappointed in that, like, I feel like I would have overall liked more story arcs and more of major events to happen over the course of the story, like quantity wise. In terms of the quality of the writing, I think it was really good. I just feel like the game was a bit short.
I think that I actually agree with quite a lot of that. I do. I do really like seeing a lot of the themes and things coming in from the previous games, especially just kind of like doing them in like a more digestible way. Because I mean, like Xenogears is just like really heavy, and Xenosaga is just really boring. Um, so, yeah, I do. I do agree there.
All right.
I just kind of got. I mean, the story underwhelmingly didn't hinder my enjoyment of the game too much, because basically the point I realized, hey, this story isn't doing it for me, I went and did side quests and stuff, and I did the stuff that I enjoyed. So,
Mhm.
What do you want me to start?
Just start whatever you
just
want.
start
Whatever.
whatever opinions you have on the game, just say them.
Okay. The story, like the first time I played it was quite good. I liked it, but like in retrospect, it's like how I like Xenoblade 2 more now than I think about it. But
Hey,
uh,
let's go.
but the
Sorry.
story itself, like up until chapter 5, it's kind of underwhelming, except chapter 1, but quite short. I think it just got. I think what kept me playing was just the characters. They're really good. And then I know people rag on chapter 6 and 7. I mean, do they? I don't know. On 6 a lot, but I didn't realize it existed. I thought it was just part of 7. I'm not gonna lie. Like when people were like, wait, chapter 6 is so bad. I'm like, wait, isn't that just the end?
Oh god. Oh no.
And
Okay.
I realized, isn't that Mio's side story where the stuff with
Yeah. Yes.
why
Yeah.
happens?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
literally all of chapter 6.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
probably
and
why I didn't. Yeah, I hate that so much. I
Oh my god,
genuinely stopped
I
paying
remember.
attention.
I remember you defending chapter 6. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it won't be so bad.
I
Because
don't think
I
he
saw
knew
you in
that
the
that was
Xenoblade
chapter
Free,
6.
Yeah,
in the
I didn't.
Xenoblade Free spoiler channel, and you're just like, oh, I don't get why people hate chapter 6. That was awesome. And I'm just like, huh? So I'm seeing 2 completely different opinions on this.
I mixed up chapter 5 and 6 because I didn't know chapter 6 started.
that, that's a
The
bit
Okay,
only
decent, I've
reason that
heard.
they start chapter 6 is just to have a save file in the middle of that exorbitantly long
Yes.
cutscene.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Literally you don't get control over your characters for another hour after the save point between the
Yes.
between the it's just like 2 boss fights, I think, and a ton of cutscenes.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yes.
and by the way, a lot of cutscenes interrupted by occasional boss fights. Is that a Xenogears Disc 2 reference?
Oh, what is it?
Our game is basically Xenogears Disc 2.
Yes, yeah, this game is just Xenogears, man. Yeah.
This game is just Xenogears, but bad.
Okay. I
Yeah.
really like Xenogears more.
All right. Yeah. So Zane. So anything else
Oh,
you want to add?
okay. Gameplay wise, Chapter 7, I hate it because
Okay.
it's like it's the classic you have to go on the fetch quest before the final area,
Yeah.
and then
Also, you guys told me that the final dungeon would be like 2 hours. It legitimately took me 8 hours to play through it.
yeah.
Oh. Okay.
What?
Okay.
Wait, what did you do?
I have
that is.
no clue. That's how long it took me.
It
Okay.
And I started in the final dungeon that day. Like I had a save file in the final dungeon, and that's just how long it took for me to get to the
What?
end.
Yeah, it took
I
me
don't
like
know
2
about.
hours, 3 hours.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
random
I don't
thought
know.
about the
I kind
final
of like
dungeon.
fought stuff, and I was a little underleveled, but
I like it
Okay.
aesthetically, but gameplay wise, it sucks.
The final dungeon, I completely forgot about this. They have literally like the what is it, the Omni Gear or Anima Relic rooms from like Xenogears in the final dungeon.
yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh crap! I gotta be careful. I don't know if they're at that part of Gears yet.
Well, they
Yeah,
don't know what those
I-
words mean or anything
Yeah.
like that. So,
Yeah.
No,
So
we
I'm just
don't.
out of
saying,
context,
interesting at this point.
No.
It's also very reminiscent of not only stuff from Xenogears, but also dungeons from parts of Xenosaga, and as you will gladly point out, it is also very similar to Ghost technology in X, right?
yeah. I mean, literally one of like the prison Melia is being held in is literally one of the ships from the Ghost have. It is literally carbon copied from X.
Mhm.
As is the entire origin as a whole, to be fair. But that's a completely different ship. So it's like they've got two completely different ships from X, blatantly just copy and pasted and put into 3.
Uh-huh. All right, Zane. So any final things to say before I say my
Oh,
thoughts?
the finale itself was really good. I'm not gonna lie, I quite like it,
Okay. All right.
especially
All
the
right.
ending. But I think that's just quite given. The the final boss fight was hell. I did it 10 levels under, and yeah, it was fun, very fun. 14 is my favorite.
Um,
Oh
yeah.
God.
I think
I-
I'm kind of done.
While we're just talking about the ending really quick, I would just like to add one more thing, and then Falto can have his turn to give his piece. Honestly, I think that the ending was handled really well, despite the final boss feeling a bit strange. I and I know this game did something right when the part that had me crying the most was with the main party and not really the stuff with Melia and Nia. Like the Melia and Nia scenes were like great, but they were honestly like more just kind of like heartwarming. I was like, oh, that's really nice. When when we go back to the main party after that, I was like sobbing for the entire rest of the game.
Mhm.
And like for the entirety of the credits.
Wait, when you mean
And
we
then
go
like
back to the
and
main?
then the post credit scene just kind of happens,
yeah.
and it's crazy.
Yeah. Um. All right. So I guess I'll say my thoughts.
You go.
Okay. So I'm not gonna say a lot because I did say a lot of my thoughts in a video which I made, which I just want to talk a little bit about the video. So or like what was going on in my mind when I made that video. So the day I wrote the script for that video, I was taking a dump in the morning, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I want to make this video, and I'm like, I'm like, I and I was planning, like, okay, so what am I gonna say? Like that video was made purely on an impulse. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm making it. Like if it does really well or really bad, I'm just gonna have to embrace whatever it happens. But I want to make the video, so I made it now. Now the video did better than I thought because like I was expecting me to just get so comments just saying, "Oh, you're wrong. Oh, you're wrong. Oh, screw you." You know, I actually only got a few comments which were like not agreeing with me. But I'm like, what the fuck? People are actually agreeing with me. What the hell? So but yeah, but I do want to add to that because I admit I didn't say everything because that video was kind of rushed and just on impulse and I didn't say all my thoughts. So here I'm gonna say more things. Number one, I think pacing wise, this game was very well, like especially Xenoblade 2. Now I personally I didn't mind it because that was like my first JRPG, so I didn't know what to expect. So I personally did not have a bad time with the pacing, but I know that the pacing in 2 is really poor compared to 1 and 2, compared to 1 and 3, sorry. So I think this game had really good pacing, and but for me again, it's a execution like all these things, like these concepts such as like I think how Crack mentioned like earlier, and so did Tyrea, were like where like Zed is like the manifestation of like the people's, like they're not sure of like what's gonna happen. Like honestly, all these things are really cool, and you could argue they do live up to the, I guess, Xenoblade 2 chapter 10's Klaus moment. However, I think all these things were executed really, really badly, which is why I don't feel that when I should have felt. Like just on paper, all these ideas are really epic and grand scheme. Again, because in the grand scheme of things, I think if you compare like the Xenoblade 3 plot overall, I think it's pretty interesting as a like if you think of it as like a continuation of 1 and 2. However, I think Xenoblade 3 like on its own is really it's really weak. Like you have to essentially play it in the lens, or think in the lens of like, okay, like all this shit is due to like, I guess what happens in the past and whatnot. So and I know like even fucking Nintendo says, "Oh, you can play this game without playing 1 and 2 first." And
Bullshit. I'm interrupting you
yeah.
right now. Bullshit.
Yeah.
That is complete bullshit.
Yeah,
Sorry, bro.
exactly.
Bullshit.
That is purely marketing them so that they could. That's purely for like marketing so that people buy the game regardless if they played 1 and 2 or not. That's just so they can get more
I'm gonna add
units.
something else to that. Zeke
Yeah.
told me about this, but they literally, like, right after saying you could play this without playing 1 and 2, they literally explained the Klaus experiment, like the biggest spoiler of Xenoblade 1 and 2.
Yes,
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
they do.
Nintendo Switch news tab on the thing. I believe actually Falto showed me this, so this
Yeah,
is like
I did,
back,
yeah.
like, now we're going back on everything.
Full circle.
Yeah. But yeah, they literally have like they had a news thing, getting to know Xenoblade Chronicles 3. The first question, can you play it without the other games? It's like, yeah, you can play this game. And then immediately under that, it's like all you need to know is that all this started when Klaus activated the conduit. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, like I mean, yeah, that is purely
The only thing you need to know to understand Xenoblade 3 is the ending of both games.
Yeah. I will say that is not Monolith's fault. That is like Nintendo's marketing. That's not like, we can't blame Monolith Soft for that at all.
Oh
That's
yeah,
just
absolutely.
Nintendo
That
being
is
a derp.
entirely just Nintendo doing their classic, like, let's spoil the biggest twists of Xenoblade games, because we always do that every fucking time whenever we're in the middle of marketing the next game. Big spoilers galore.
Yeah, even Sakurai, like when he, like in the trailer, like or for Smash, when Mythra got added, like he covered Numa's I guess art or icon, whatever you want to call them, avatar, whatever. But yeah, so okay, now
I mean, well, that's just kind of. I guess that's just. I mean, that was really just kind of like more like a matter of time. It's like, why would you put Numa as a spirit in the game at all? But
actually,
I mean, hey, you know what? Numa is kind of harmless considering literally the icon for the spirits menu shows Mechon Fiora.
mhm.
Like, you don't even need to unlock her as a spirit to then see it in the game. So,
Okay. All right. So let me just finish up or wrap up my thoughts. Okay. Let's see. What else I wanted to say? Trying to think. But yeah. So overall, if I have to, like if you were to put a gun up to my head and see, okay, so where would I rank Xenoblade 3 like compared to, okay, sorry, not compared to the other game, just in general for me. So it, like when I first played it, here's what went through my mind. When I first played it, I'm like, no, I don't like this whatsoever. But then as time went on, I'm like, okay, so I started to understand more stuff. Okay, all right, makes sense. Okay, that's cool. Um, and but then as time went on even further after I made that video, my opinions became more negative. So which is why for like the past 2 weeks I've been trying not to talk a lot about Xenoblade 3, like just in my server in general. Just because I know that if I do that, I'm just gonna be more and more negative. Cause so I'm trying. This podcast is different because it's not us texting and like arguing, on like silly topics. This is more of us just discussing stuff, and we're not really arguing. I don't think we have any sort of argument in this podcast. So, but yeah, so overall, I'd say I think as a game, it's a great game. In fact, I like the story is probably better than most other like stories in general, like Persona 5. Just wanted to name one out there, but still, I mean but yeah, but overall, but if you compare it to the other games, Xenoblade 1 and 2, I cannot say that the story and overall like subjectively, not objectively. Like if you ask me pure subjectively, I do not put it above 1 and 2, but objectively, sure, probably, but not subjectively.
I
Um,
just honestly, I feel bad like that. I keep like thinking of new things to just throw in here because like I did not write anything down.
it's fine.
But I just realized another thing that really like kind of just made the game less enjoyable to me is they kind of just like I know that it's like the entire theme of the game, and it probably wouldn't have like hit the same if they like did it, and it all kind of makes sense in the lore or whatever.
hmm
I don't like how many times they just brought characters back. It just got repetitive.
Oh,
I
I I would
I'm
Like
I'm
say.
kind of in the
I
same boat
understand
in a
why they
weird
did it.
way.
Like I
Mhm.
completely get like the importance of doing this, but
Yeah.
like every single character that dies comes back unless your name is Van Damme.
Well, actually,
It's just like
but by
it's
the end, they're all dead because because time is reversed. So
Yeah.
I guess you could think of it.
I'm in a weird boat
I'm
about
not even doing
that.
that because I think that like this isn't even me being like all dark because like I think that character should like die or whatever. I think that they did it way too much. Like
um.
Yeah.
So essentially, from what I'm
like
hearing, is
it kind of loses all meaning if considering like every single chapter it's like the twist is that somebody who's dead is back.
honestly,
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
that
yeah,
Yeah,
people,
that's
I
yeah,
I feel
I do
like
want
they
to.
could have explored the whole thematic concept of like because like one of the things I was interested in is part of the reason I didn't really like Mia the Century Quest, but also think it could have been better. They bring back like Mwamba and like Hacked and all the other fuckers that really don't matter, but like you talk to them as NPCs, they don't remember jack shit. So it's like there's still like meaning to the death, and that these are technically new people, but they resemble people in their mind. These characters of people they knew before, but they never really explore that idea. They never really explore this like depressing feeling of nostalgia, like nostalgia for someone you once knew that you will never see again, but you see in someone else. Like that's the real thing people have, and they could have explored that as a thematic idea in the game. And it's one of the things I will say I feel like is a bit of a missed opportunity with this game. They literally set up the perfect setup for this kind of idea, and they just never touched on it.
Um, yeah, actually, yeah, Zeke. From what I'm hearing, from what you said, is essentially you don't like the theme of it. Like you understand, like, okay, so like why they come back, but like you don't, but like you wish it
no
was
no no.
something else.
Uh
From what?
no.
Oh,
Here's the thing. I completely understand why they did it and I think that it's like fine. I think that the way it's executed is just
Yeah.
tedious.
I see. Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's ways that they could have done it.
Yeah,
but
it's
I
I
don't
do
very
think they really
half-assed.
land
I
that.
mean, I do agree with you with like a little bit because like I said this
Honestly, the
as a
one
joke.
time bringing back a character like really worked and made sense, it like felt like insane
Fiora.
was no. I mean, in
Oh.
this game,
Oh. Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, was that start of chapter 6 and how they resolve what happened at the end of chapter 5. That was like actually insane.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that
Yes. I love that
was, I
twist.
think, the only time I
That's
really
actually
liked it.
honestly, I might be like just like I might just be like kissing chapter 5's ass way too much. I might go as far to say I think this might have been the best bullshit excuse to bring a character back to life in the series.
I will say. Yeah. I do agree.
Like
I do.
I might feel different in like a couple months when I have more time to think about it, but I mean, it just felt
Regarding.
natural, and I love even uh when you fight Console M, I don't know if it's actually like foreshadowing or anything, but Kion specifically mentions how he doesn't want to fight her. She's too similar to Mio, and he does not say the same thing about N.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
So
Okay. I
that
didn't. That is.
if Kion picked up on what was going on, then that is insane.
I mean, to be fair, Tyon is very smart, so like I would kind of expect
Yeah.
him to know to like
Canonically,
pick
the
up on the.
smartest of the main party members.
Yeah.
35 tactic points.
Yeah.
Suck,
I,
suck
I will
Kion's
say.
massive braid dick.
All right. So
Uh,
so we are running out of time. So I'll just say one last thing regarding what Tara said. About them bringing back to life. I do agree with you that they were brought back too much, and now I personally I didn't mind because I'm the type of guy that loves all this type of shit. So I mean I didn't mind that, but yeah I do agree that it was probably done too much and it could get tiring. Um, like it feels like there's no weight, so like I understand why people may not like that so
I
much.
mean, even it's not so much a case of like doing it too much. It's mere. It's like by that logic, like it's watering that down. It's more a case of they do it a lot, but they never really add on anything every time. Like every time it's just the same stuff, and every time it's
Yeah,
just there. It's just there as a formality basically of like, yep, nope, we gotta bring them back at some point.
yeah.
It's very weightless. They don't really um utilize it to develop the plot any more than it already is. It's just there for the sake of being there.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Uh, on the note of like watering down. Sorry, I'm saying I'm starting saying sort of a slightly new thought, but essentially, so you know how like for freeing every single colony, it's like they play that cutscene where like Mio and Mio, Noah and Mio, they become in their Ouroboros and they like take down the flame clock. Yeah, after like 5 times or like I just started skipping it. I'm like, bro, it's the same
So
exact cutscene. But
on the topic of that,
I
this is a very funny thing for me. I played this game on an emulator. That
uh-huh.
cutscene would never load, so every time it automatically it would just cut out the fucking scene. I would get a white screen, and then nothing. I couldn't see or hear anything, and then 10 seconds later, I'd just be like right after the scene was over. It would never load every time.
That is that's funny.
So
Oh
I
well.
can't say that got old for me because
Yeah.
I never even saw
Oh
it.
wow.
Okay. Wow, that is but yeah. But honestly, but I mean, okay. So I said this meme when I like after beat the game. I'm like, hey, to all those people that like cry or like complain about Pyra and Mythra coming back to life. At the end of Xenoblade 2, this game does that like 100 times. Well, I know it's not the same, but like it's the it's sort of
It's not so much them coming. Like the problem with Pyra Mythra coming back is that literally you're given you're given there's weight to their death. Their death itself has weight, and while death has weight in Xenoblade 3, they begin to set up this idea that the return from their life and sort of that new life that they're now living also has weight. So the revival is kind of given more like weight as well, whereas it's not really given any of its own weight in the context of Xenoblade 2. It's just kind of a meaningless thing to create a happier ending, whereas in Xenoblade 3 it doesn't really make things happier. Like they kind of introduce the idea that I brought up before about like, oh yeah, these are still, they don't have the same memories, their lives are basically reset, but they have the same body, they have the same interests. It's just them living out that same life all over again with slightly changed setting, and us who have seen their previous lives are gonna have to go through all of that again with them. And that's like, they set that idea up in Xenoblade 3. They don't really set anything up like to build a narrative at all in Xenoblade 2. They don't go anywhere with it in Xenoblade 3, but it's like in the context of Xenoblade 2, it's like the only thing that the revival of Pyra and Mythra does in that context is it's there for the sake of fan service, and it kind of contradicts the overall weight of their death as a whole, whereas it doesn't in the context of Xenoblade 3.
All right. But yeah. All right. So I unfortunately I have to get going, so I can't really say much to that at this point. Though I do have some things to say, but we'll just talk it over later. But thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for coming on this podcast. I know time wise it was a little like hectic, but we made it work. But yeah. All right. I will see you guys later. I guess good afternoon and good evening to you. See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Subscribe to the Epic Falto, or else I will use Sacred Arrow and Burning Sword on you and your entire family.